NERAC is the Northeast Homeland Security Regional Advisory Council, and it's a multidisciplinary group that provides Homeland Security funding to 85 communities, all located in the northeast part of Massachusetts.
The Homeland Security money was sent to each state. We make decisions on how to spend the money, not just for police, not just for fire, but for all disciplines.
NERAC has developed a cache site system where we have 3 sites throughout the region. And those cache sites hold equipment, and those can be deployed out of those systems to any community within a very short period of time.
Communities were cutting budgets, and yet we needed to protect the public safety interests of each of the communities within our district. So the council provided money to buy large pieces of equipment that each community has access to.
NERAC has felt that it's very important for each community to have a standalone capacity before they enter into the cache system. So we have provided resources to each community through a distribution program. We've distributed over $3 million in equipment to the 85 communities.
The NERAC Council took a common sense approach to identify what should be done in the area of interoperability. We already had systems in place that worked well, but they only worked well for specific disciplines. So NERAC looked at that and said, we should probably be spending the money to improve existing systems and then work towards bridging the gaps of the various disciplines.
NERAC actually provides the financial support so that the individuals can attend training, can attend monthly drills without a big burden on their department. It's regional in scope so that we meet our next door neighbors, we train with them, and we do everything in the exact same way, so when a situation does arise, we're all on the same page. We have a strong commitment to the ICS system, and this has been since day one. We felt very strongly that communities needed this training.
Significant dollars have been put into infrastructure build-out. Equal number of dollars have been put into training programs. We can build the infrastructure, but if we don't have people trained to be able to use it, it sits on a shelf and collects dust. When the next incident happens, not if the next incident happens, but when the next incident happens, the necessary tools and resources are available through NERAC for the 85 member communities.
The fact that there is equipment that anyone can borrow from someone else and then return it when you're through with it was somewhat of a new concept.
NERAC gets a sum of public safety money from the state via the federal government. And our responsibility is to divide that money up as best we can. This cash program allows the communities to put priorities on what their community actually needs, and this kind of subsidizes what the community has.
Bottom line is we get all this equipment, we don't ever want to use it. That's the bottom line of this whole thing. We're ready to go at any time.
We came up with 3 strategically located cache locations: Beverly, Lexington, and Framingham. When there's a large disaster, the first responders in the field now have to talk to different agencies that don't normally talk on a day-to-day basis. At the Beverly cache, we have certain strategic communications equipment that would be very hard to replace in a disaster. This happens to be a 100-foot Roan 45 tower. We stockpile this equipment, and in the event that there is a tower collapse, this here can be supplied in a matter of hours, and with a trained crew could probably be erected in less than a day. We have the large tower, which is a wheeled trailer. It weighs about 16,000 pounds. It can set up in probably 15 minutes. It has a radio equipment in it that has the antenna, the towers, the transmission line, and the interoperability equipment in it. We also have what we call the Blue Sky Tower, which is a very small tower, but can be set up on the roof of a building very quickly. That's transportable by 2 people to be delivered to a city and town to serve as either a permanent or a full-time antenna should theirs be destroyed. NERAC has a 30 radio cache in the Beverly, Framingham, and Lexington cache site. They come with speaker microphones, cases, antennas, chargers, and spare batteries. All the radios have all of the regional police, fire, and EMS channels pre-programmed in, as well as interoperability channels. The 3 caches all have 24-hour contacts and phone numbers, and a participating city can call one of the regional caches, and we'll make arrangements for either the equipment to be picked up or delivered.
In our yard here at Framingham DPW, this is a 90 kW generator that used to support emergency power. It can be trailered anywhere. It can be hooked up in a matter of hours. We have 6 shelter trailers here, as does Lexington and Beverly. These trailers are equipped with cots, blankets, wheelchairs. We have first aid kits in here, so in other words, this is the first response to an emergency. As far as the trailers go, that's pretty much anybody can tow those. This is one of our portable generators. We have 4 of these. This can be used in the field to work with shelter trailers, so they could have a lighting type capabilities if the light towers that we have here also weren't available. So we have 7 light towers here that can be trailered anywhere. They're all a 2-inch ball. They all raise mechanically, and these are pretty simple to operate. There's basically 2 switches on there. One is to start the motor, and one is to turn the lights on, and that's it. Message boards, you got to go in and program. We have 4 of them here. Anything that pertains to safety of the public is when they'll be used. This pump will pump about 1,000 gallons a minute of water in a flooding situation. We can set up anywhere from 20 feet away to 60 feet away, depending on the location where the flood or where the water has to go. These are hoses we have for our 10-inch pump. We can pump probably anywhere over 1,000 gallons a minute with these pumps. You can pump it out closely, but you got to get it away from the location. So the more discharge hose you have, the better off you are. These are 4-inch pumps, as they're commonly known in the industry. They're trash pumps, because they'll basically suck up anything on the ground, and they'll bring the water level down to probably 2 or 3 inches. We have a trailer that houses almost 70 of these plastic barricades. This trailer is ready to go at any time to take these barricades to any location. And we also have metal barricades that are used in more of a more permanent type situation when you're going to be there for a long period of time. This is a 15-inch wood chipper that we have used back in the hurricane of Irene. This was out for almost 2 weeks. This is another asset from the NERAC committee that has proven itself invaluable.
Through NERAC, we have several resources related to evacuation. The current inventory of NERAC vehicles for evacuation include the 2 evac buses, the 3 ambu buses, and then the 2 evacuation vans. Ambu buses are meant for medical patients, so whether it be a mass casualty incident with multiple victims, it could be an evacuation of a hospital or a nursing home. The ambu buses in the NERAC region are actually converted transit buses, retrofitted to actually support 12 stretcher-bound patients. The buses also maintain an installed oxygen system, some basic medical supplies, defibrillators, as well as radios for all of our communication safety points so that the bus can communicate with the responders on the scene. We've had different size and scopes of evacuations within the region, and the evacuation resources that NERAC has put forward, the ambu buses, the evac buses, as well as the evac vans, are all part of that system of helping us have a resource to move larger quantities of individuals in a safe manner, and something that's a regional resource available to any of the communities upon request.
When you see a spike of pandemic or flu-type symptoms, you may need additional resources. Based on recommendations from the American Association of Respiratory Care, we developed 3 cache sites. Cached at Lowell General Saints campus, we have 11 ventilators. At Beverly Hospital, we have 9 ventilators. And at Newton Wellesley Hospital, we have 7 ventilators. If a hospital needs a ventilator, they can contact Northeast CMed, which is based at Lawrence General Hospital 24/7. Another exciting project that NERAC is currently working on is a cot trailer. This cot trailer will have available 50 hospital cots, 25 bariatric cots, 10 pediatric adapters for cots, commodes, sheets, any items that they would need to start providing treatment care at a surge site. It's really great to have shared equipment because you don't have to go out and buy your own. When we have a cache site set up, we're not duplicating the services. Not every community may not need it all the time. So why not have a cache site that is shared? A community can activate whenever they need and then bring it back to the cache site once it's been used.
Every community needs to have a base capacity to take care of its people when they may be totally on their own for the first up to 72 hours before other levels of help potentially may show up. So you need to have some capacity to deal with the sheltering issue for that period of time. And you need a certain amount of assets locally and potentially regionally in which to call upon. The main asset is the shelter trailer itself. We have 18 spread across the 3 cache sites that we have across the 85 community region. These trailers are set up for a shelter of 100 people.
What will happen when you're opening your shelter, especially at registrations, you're going to have a number of questions like this.
We have what they call shelter in a box. It's basically 3 containers that have all the assets that you need to sort of open up that shelter. The assets within the trailer are cots, blankets, wheelchairs. We have a portable shower in that unit. There's your first aid kits, your personal care kits for everybody, and we also have a pet trailer. They at least are looking to try to meet some of the basic functional needs. But the idea is, can you on your own, within your own community, with assets that you've gotten from funding that's come through NERAC or some of the assets that are available through them to you, can you get through this period of time before outside assets become available to you? NERAC currently has 3 inflatable shelters. They're easily deployed, they're easily set up. The systems have built-in heating, cooling, lighting, so that you have a kind of a complete sheltering package.
You speak English, sir. Oh, very good.
First responders are trying very hard to organize and plan and train so that they'll be ready for that first-time event and hopefully diminish the impact of the event on the public.
The NERAC region has within it a very broad scope of different types of hazardous material. Personal protective equipment is necessary for any of our first responders to utilize during an event where they'll be at risk for some type of hazard. NERAC has with equipment trailers, the concept is to have everything ready to go, packaged, and be transported directly to the requested site of the incident. This is one of the 3 PPE trailers we have throughout the NERAC region. This one is in the town of Hudson. There's also one in Saugus and one in Boxford. They're all set up identically. They all contain the same equipment. This is one of the masks that goes to the powered air purifying respirators. We have what's referred to as N95 masks. We have SCBA mask setups. So basically within these trailers, we're looking at having different levels of suits, different levels of protection, and the appropriate airway or respiratory protection that goes along with those. The appropriate action is to have been pre-fitted to make sure you've got the right size mask to ensure the level of protection you're assuming that mask will provide can actually be done by the proper fit mask. This is an example of one of our fit testing devices. We do stress that you do have to go through the Train the Trainer program to ensure that you're familiar with this device. The 3 PPE trailers are housed in the towns of Boxford, Saugus, and Hudson. If you just need the fit testing equipment, you're going to contact those fire departments directly and sign out just the fit testing apparatus to complete your task of fit testing your employees. If you do activate a PPE trailer, however, you will have contained in them during the deployment the fit testing devices.
We have numerous projects that we feel are very successful in the Northeast region. Probably the most effective is the STARS program. It's the School Threat Assessment and Response System. It's modeled after a program from NERAC, which is the Northeast Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council. It came into existence around the time of Columbine. And NERAC at the time realized that we had to come up with a strategy on how to respond to the similar incident in our region. So every school in the region and every municipality has floor plans that have been developed, has a strategy on how they're going to respond to active shooters or crises in those school systems. We've distributed toolkits to every community, as well as equipment and training, so that there's a universal response in every community within the NERAC region. NERAC funded a program called HEART. It's a hospital response system. We've developed programs that if they have an emergency in their hospitals, how we would respond to that and how they would assess what the threat is. So it's a mirrored project of the STARS program, and it's in its infancy now. We're just really rolling that out.
NERAC's a consortium of 53 cities, towns, and sheriff's departments that share resources and personnel to provide services to the region that they probably couldn't provide as individual agencies or departments. If a SWAT-type situation took place, we will have personnel there within a matter of 15 or 20 minutes because they're coming from within those communities that we service. NERAC has provided various pieces of equipment to the NERAC SWAT team. NERAC has recently provided us with a new armored vehicle. The Bearcat vehicle has been an effective means to operate in very hostile environments where the team is under gunfire or under potential gunfire and can provide us ballistic protection. NERAC has provided us training weapons that we're able to utilize in place of our real weapons and make for a very safe training environment. NERAC provides us with Avon face mask, a gas protection device when we have to utilize gas munitions in an environment where other means may not be effective. With SWAT helmets, ballistic shields, ballistic face shields. NERAC has provided us a robot and a transport vehicle for that robot. A very necessary tool operating in situations where we otherwise would have had to put human beings in a situation where they would be at great risk. The robot can provide us timely information and intelligence and can actually communicate with hostile individuals, whereas otherwise we would have put a human being. Without NERAC as a funding source, it would be very difficult to perform our operation, what we do.
If you're going to come out, I want you to come out. Put your hands up in the air, okay?
NERAC's provided us for a rescue phone. We have a very skilled negotiator division within our team. They utilize that piece of equipment very effectively to communicate with someone who's barricaded themselves, who may be suicidal or homicidal, and they're able to communicate with that rescue phone. If you look at our society and look at some of the recent events that have happened, the school shootings that have occurred throughout the nation, we are prepared and we train for events such as this that we would have to aid local law enforcement and provide SWAT services to them. The shared resources that we can provide to any of the cities and towns within the NERAC region just basically bring public safety to a whole new level.
Regional training and exercise is one of the, I feel, most important things that NERAC can do. Training, no one can get enough of.
I just want to explain to you what this tower can do.
Once he got out on the bridge, he realized that he was stuck.
Does that have power?
Why don't we just have them wait here?
The cities and towns just don't have the funds to do it. So they turn to NERAC, who provides backfill and overtime for the people who want to become involved.
There's a BGAN satellite system. It comes with its own computer and provides Wi-Fi capability also. So that's why it's off.
We have a strong commitment to the ICS system. We provide backfill and overtime for ICS courses.
Actually, most of them are thought of lithium ion. 2, 3, 4, 5 radio here, either on UTAC 3.
We're now funding COM-T, which is a communications technician, and COM-L, which is a communication leader. Communication is always the weakest link in every drill. So this way we have people who technically can patch us in, and the leaders can bring everything together. The ICS course for government officials is a 4-hour course, and what's great about this, it puts mayors and town managers in the same room, and they can talk about the problems that they have in their communities and hopefully get together and to solve some problems.
Part of today is for you guys to learn what your part is going to be in an incident like this.
NERAC provides funding for the Essex County Technical Rescue Team through state Homeland Security funds. The training that they provide us allows our rescuers to maintain their skills and develop new skills as new technologies come out and new equipment is available.
Team 1, we can go to vertical shoring first.
We train it 10 times a year for all our technicians. Paid training drills, 80 hours per calendar year of technical rescue training.
We are trained in 4 different skills. Today we are drilling in shoring for structural collapse.
Training is not a burden to any community as long as NERAC's funding.
It's a self-supporting tower up to 40 feet, and it can go as high as 105 feet. I just want to explain to you what this tower can do.
It's very important that we have hands-on training so people get familiar with the equipment, that they know what's out there, what the resources are, what type of interoperability equipment could be brought to their community if need be.
Before you put the tower up, the throttle has to be in high position.
One of the many goals of NERAC is to train the trainer. You invest in one person and bring them up to a certain level, and then you expect that they'll go back and bring it back to their community and train the next person with them.
They're both the same size, and you can put the forward.
Not every discipline needs another antenna site or a tower site, which takes up real estate and costs significant dollars. How can we work around this, and how can we share what's already in existence? And how can the police work off of a fire tower or EMS site or vice versa between the disciplines? And the microwave pilot program began.
All of these different disciplines are going to be operating on a microwave, sharing that one microwave as opposed to each having individual lease costs. But right now there's 10 microwaves in place. It's a high radio signal that operates on point-to-point communication, basically. This helps to increase cybersecurity, where we're going from one point to the next using a very directional signal. So the microwave project helped to increase reliability for the command and control networks, whether it be BAPERN, CMED, or the fire control district channels. As a byproduct of that, we were able to save approximately $30,000 per year between the 3 disciplines.
We have a portable UHF repeater on the UTAC channel.
Prior generations of police officers only had the police radio that was in their car, and even before them it was the call box. They'd be on patrol and have to go to a call box. But never was there any cross-discipline communication, interoperability. Interoperability is the ability to speak person to person during emergency situations through various disciplines, whether it be face-to-face, whether it be over radio communication, telephone. However the means, one agency can speak with the other agency to work through a crisis. And that's something that NERAC worked very, very diligently at from the very beginning to break down the barriers between disciplines. They looked and said, okay, what do the fire have? What do the police have? What does emergency medical services have? What do the hospitals have? And they looked at everything and just say, okay, let's take the best of what's out there. Let's build that up and then find a way to build a bridge between all of them. Fire services are using the FSAT system. It's Fire Service Apparatus Tracking System. That gives you real-time status of all of the apparatus in all of the fire districts.
Over here is the control points that could actually view what's going on in their area. The purpose of a fire control point is to help coordinate fire responses to large-scale fires. Could be also for task forces or ambulance mobilizations. So we serve as the nerve center to get those resources to the appropriate community. All we have to do is just click on a button here, and this kind of gives us the information we need to either get a response into our district or out of our district. The other nice thing about FSATS is that it tracks the incidents in almost real time. As I take apparatus from one community to assign them to a fire at an incident in another community, the other control points can see that updated on their availability screen. It is critical, though, that communities notify us of their availability should they have an apparatus go out of service, so that we know not to call on them for a fire in maybe a neighboring community. Another nice feature at the fire control points is we have a system called AirInc. The AirInc is a voice over IP and also a radio over IP system that ties into the microwave network.
The Information Sharing Subcommittee is responsible for maintaining several information sharing projects, one of which is WebEOC. WebEOC is a web-based emergency operations center package or program that can be utilized by any of the 85 cities and towns within the NERAC region. There are actually several WebEOCs in the state, but really you want to think of NERAC WebEOC as your local WebEOC, because it gives the flexibility of maintaining a singular event for just a police department or fire department, a community-wide event for sheltering operations, for flooding operations, where the state system is really looking at the big picture items and doesn't allow that individual departments to work back and forth within their own community on issues that really pertain to the community.
10 tables.
We can't do it alone. Today you just can't do it alone. You can't stand alone. You need the resources. You need the mutual aid around you to support you and to assist.